So several things are occurring to me right now, which is interesting because all I've done is really put out the announcement for the free call introducing Live Your Medicine, and I have been going through waves of upgrades and quantum leaps in my own awareness about what this is really about and what I'm really intending as I bring it forward. So put things on the calendar and the creation continues. It doesn't stop there. And what's occurring to me is there's something that I'm just beginning to touch, and so I'm choosing to stay through this video and be with it a little bit. And that's there are, for every physician, there are a set of promises that they made to themselves, like a deal that was made to go into medicine. And we each have, and I'll call it just agreements. We have our own internal agreements that we hold silently as we enter any situation in our life. And sometimes those agreements were made when we were 3 years old, without our knowing it or at the other than conscious level. Some were conscious choices, and that's a big part of the excavation or remembering, is what was the promise that you made about choosing this career, or acquiescing to this career in some cases, settling for this career, or creating some kind of negotiated balance between this career and the life that you desired on the surface. And what were those agreements, and how are you doing with those? How are the agreements playing out at this point in your life? And you know, the trade-off that I see that's unspoken and that we've gone numb to among a lot of doctors is the trade-off was, I will, I'm a smart person, I'll put in my time, I'll pay my dues, and when I get out, I'll have a pretty nice life. I'll get paid really well, or at least, respectably relative to the rest of society. I'll be doing an honorable profession, and I'll get to pursue what I really love to do on the side. And so we have this compartmentalization about who we are at work and what our profession says about us and how we make our money and what that means about us, and then our passions, which are over here. So I am wondering how many people share this compartmentalization, which is a belief system that says we have multiple identities, and how we make our money defines one identity, and then what we love, what our heart says, is something separate and cannot be tied to the other identity. So we have silos. And these are just useful, these are really interesting to look at as limitations on what's possible. Because it's, that's something we chose, and then we fit our life into it. And we made every agreement after that was based on that view of things. And when it's time to ask the question, what do we choose again? What do we choose now? What is our choice in this moment for the new now? If we're not aware of the invisible rules that we've written in the past, or the agreements that are unexamined, we'll keep making, quote, new choices, but within that same set of agreements that we haven't looked at. And, a cultural piece of it is coming up for me too, that's unspoken or is still suppressed and coming to the surface, which is how many people really never chose to go into medicine. They were just good at suppressing what they truly wanted longer than the rest of people around them, and that's what got them that far academically in that competitive game and up the whole ladder of medicine. And so how much of what has been created in the medical system has been based on a lot of people suppressing their true desires. And what kind of a system would be created by allowing desire and remembering desire? Again, I just go back to the imagining a world where everyone who works has a name tag that says, I am an enthusiast. You know, what if we were truly enthusiastic when our whole being about how we show up as who we are in what we do? Not just the thing we do when we roll out of bed, clamp down, grit our teeth, and get through the day. But what would it be to be our shining self in the work that we choose to do? And how do we create work that serves our shining self, and that we serve the work with our shining selves? And these are the kinds of questions that we each can ask, and we can and are in us. The answers are in us. They're not out there. They're just dormant, maybe a little bit apathetic from having slept for so long, but very much still alive and resuscitated by light and enthusiasm and love. And one other thought related to this, which is how codependency, as I described in an earlier video, rampant throughout society. It is not about just being an addict or just being in a dysfunctional relationship. It's most of our relationships, and our way of being is codependent, where we're relying on something outside of ourselves for our own happiness and peace. So whether it's a thing, a person, a place, or circumstance, an amount of something that we're waiting for in order to give us the condition of being happy, which is completely putting the power outside of ourselves, and where it never is. So it's never satisfying. That the entire patient-doctor relationship is one of codependence by default. If we don't look at it and transform it or create it consciously, it is codependent. It's someone showing up and saying, fix me, tell me what you know, and the other person being expected to know something about the other person that they don't know. And imagine a co-empowerment where there's nothing to know. It's all known, and it's about sharing the shining space of love, clarity, commitment, and clean boundaries, and being together in the space of presence mutually, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. And what shows up there. And this is a totally new healing model. So totally different paradigm that I've walked through in each of my successive journeys with this in each area of my life. It just keeps showing up as presence. Presence is all there is. I am is the ultimate healing presence and the life force of all life. So when we look for it outside ourselves, in a person, a guru, a teacher, a product, a pill, when we think that that's the healing substance, that's when we exclude the possibility of healing. So anytime we're aware of a presence other than I am, love, God presence, we cannot know true healing or true presence or true love. As soon as we're aware of something other than it, we are not in it, and we are not it. Presence. So even the notion of identifying that there's this problem going on that must be fixed, already we're one step away from ourselves. And can we get closer to ourself, a true self, and what could that do for us in so many levels? And I'm actually extremely excited for myself about carrying this consciousness, this vision of what if it were like this. And I see every single patient doctor interaction. I don't care if it's in the ICU or in an outpatient sports clinic. I see it in a co-empowered way. And as it grows in my heart, I feel more and more excited about it. I don't need anyone to change. I just see it that way. I see these relationships as already co-empowered. There's nothing to be fixed. It's just, it's already done. This is how it is, and our illusion is the behavior of co-empowerment and the the behavior of codependence and the dissatisfaction of codependence. But the outcome is I see every relationship in its co-empowered beauty and power and healing and freedom and wealth and thriving and joy and enthusiasm. That's all.